Howdy folks, this is Checkers, and well, this of course is Fallout 4, and we are here today just simply as, well, a chance for me to do an update on my health. I went to a new neurologist yesterday, and it was interesting. So, one thing she did confirm is she does not believe it's CIDP, the chronic inflammatory or demyelinating neuropathy or something like that, which is what the neurologist that I left, the one who basically hurt me, said that it was. So I was glad to hear someone say that that's not what it was, and that I didn't just waste well over a year. Well, it was never a waste. Letting someone hurt you is never okay. Anyway, getting that out of the way, the next thing she did after doing all the questions and answers, and, well, I forgot to answer a whole bunch, but I forgot to tell her about the elevated parathyroid levels and how sort of get burns on my skin when things touch me. But she said, well, you know, from everything you're telling me, it sounds like vasovagal syncope. And that's a fancy term for blacking out or passing out or fainting. And yeah, okay, so the vagus nerve can basically is sort of has some control over your heart. Not overall control, but it can interrupt, pause, tell it to speed up or slow down for short periods of time. This is my understanding. I'm not a doctor, but this is my understanding. So vasovagal syncope basically is, you know, your vagus nerve is telling your veins and arteries to open up, so your blood pressure drops. But the interesting thing in the definition is that it also drops your heart rate, which is the opposite of what mine does. Mine drops for an instant and then it rockets way, way up, while my blood pressure is still way, way down. Anyway, usually when someone comes to that conclusion, because that's the very first conclusion anyone's ever come to, but again, it's a symptom, not a cause. That's where they stop. And so I thought that's where this neurologist was going to stop. And lo and behold, right after that, she was like, but what we're going to do is this, and this. You know, she's like, we're going to do blood work, and we're going to do some skin biopsies to see if we can test nerve density in your skin. We're going to do basically a DNA test, a genetic test, to see if it could be anything like that. I'm going to send you to a cardiologist, and that threw up another flag until she said, and this cardiologist specializes in autonomic dysfunctions, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think he may be one of the first cardiologists I ever saw when this all started. Way, way, way back when. Way back when I thought doctors worked in an entirely different way, and basically this was the first cardiologist to really try and treat me, and he gave me medicine, and it didn't stop me from blacking out. You know, nothing ever has. So I went to work, and they asked me to leave because I was scaring the students, and then I called the cardiologist, and they're like, well, you know, double your medication, and if that doesn't work, half your medication. Seriously, either have it or double it. It's not working. That was literally their response. He's out on a conference. You know, he went to like a medical conference. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. It's like, that's not a good enough answer, see, because I'm going to get fired if I don't go to work, which is another long story. Anyway, but it's been 14 years, you know, maybe he's got a lot more experience by now. She wants to do the tilt table test on me again, which is going to be all kinds of exciting, because when they did it the last time, they said they had never seen anyone black out so quickly or thoroughly. Like, I was unconscious, but I could still hear them. And they were freaking out. And when I came to, there was like 3 people trying to push me up because I was slipping out of the restraints. Anyway, it's just kind of a funny memory in all of this. But yeah, so they drew like 10 vials of blood from me, which I've never had anybody take that much blood. And I've had a lot of blood taken over my life. I actually have a scar on my arm where everyone goes in to get my blood. I guess it makes a good target for him now. Anyway. So yeah, it started out sounding like, oh, well, this is just going to be another one who's going to come with the easiest answer they can find and kick me over to cardiology. And then she just went into a flurry of all the things we're going to do. She's going to repeat the nerve conductivity test because of the neuropathy. I'm not diabetic, for everyone who's heard the words diabetic and neuropathy together. I'm not diabetic. So that's not a thing. If it were that simple, this would have been figured out well over a decade ago, I'm sure. It's just kind of nice to have someone who really wants to dig into it and see, you know, if there's an answer. And I've always got the medical think tank thing coming up in like a year. So I was on the waiting list for 3 years. It was 2 years last year. It should be around 1 year now, so that's pretty exciting. And yeah, those are the good things. The bad things are that I'm getting worse. I tried to move my monitor yesterday and it took 4 tries with help. And it's not that big or heavy. I'm not weak. I'm actually probably at least as strong as I've ever been. Maybe not like when I was full bore going to the gym every day, but as for average. But while I could hold the thing up, I personally couldn't like constitutionally deal with it. I immediately broke out into sweat and apparently was flushed, and I had to go lie down 4 times before just basically putting it back where it was because I couldn't do the physical effort. Making, you know, those pizzas you buy in the store and you just stick them in the oven and you cook them for like however long. Making one of those the other day in the kitchen, which is not right next to where my computer is, made it warm enough for me that I had to go lay down before I fell down. So I am more fragile than I was. I'm stronger than I was. But it's like strapping a rocket engine to a Pinto. Yeah, technically it might be able to go faster, but you're going to blow it up before you're done. So, you know, it doesn't upset me greatly. It just means I have to be even more careful. And since I kind of look at everything as a game, well, the rules of the game have changed a little, but I can still beat this game. I know I can. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know I will. Or at least I will force it to build me a niche from which I can rule my domain, as it were. But I'm probably forgetting things. I always forget things now. But that's roughly where I am. So someone the other day said, I hope your blood pressure gets under control. My blood pressure is fine except for when I black out. So, you know, the triggers for that are heat and exertion. Those are the ones I know. I'm starting to believe that it's always heat. The exertion is just the thing that generates the heat from time to time. But I'm not sure. But I've got some really, really good people working on it, apparently. The funny thing is this neurologist is back at the university that I used to work for when I got forced out over this. So there's a little mixed feelings for me on that, but it is one of the best universities, and it was amazing to see someone who really, really wanted to try, like wasn't going to just kick it to the curb or throw up their hands, because this is now the second neurologist, third, since the one who hurt me. And the second just had nothing. That was a travesty. The third one recommended the fourth one, the one that I just saw yesterday. So she didn't know what to do with me. It wasn't her specialty, but she knew someone who had a basically neuromuscular specialty and thought that she might be able to help me more. And man, this neurologist came in and she hit it like a freight train, and I was impressed. It's not common. So I hope none of you, I know some of you go through similar things, and I'm so sorry. But for the ones of you who don't, I hope you never have to. But if you have to, if you think your doctor isn't taking care of you, if you think your doctor isn't taking you seriously, if you think your doctor is just blowing you off, move on down the line and find another one. You don't have to accept this. You don't have to accept them. It took me a long time to realize that. So I hope that if you ever come to that place, you know that, you have options, and you may very well need to exercise them before you find someone who's willing to take you seriously. If you break your arm, something obvious that they all know how to fix, you've got no problems. If you come in with a kind of a screwed up situation, though, there are a lot of people who just, they can't be bothered. A long time ago, I did tech support for America Online, of all things. And a lot of guys who worked there would, if they got a phone call that was too tough, they would accidentally drop the call so that, this hard person would call back and ruin someone else's call times. I feel like doctors, not all of them, but many of them are the very same way. They don't want to get their hands dirty with something too difficult. But, that doesn't help you when you have a really difficult problem. But in the end, I remain hopeful, and as I said, I will beat this game no matter how I have to play it. And I'm really excited by the players who've joined my game and are willing to try some of these tests. I mean, she listed off more things I know than I can remember, and more specialists to, not to pass me along, but to help support the information that she or someone else, say the medical think tank, will need in the future to answer these questions. She's got a plan and she's implementing it, and man, it's cool. It's cool to watch. So, like I said, if you've got a doctor that's not treating you right, move on down the line. There's always another chance. There's always someone out there who wanted to do that damn job because they wanted to help, not just because they wanted a Lexus or a Ferrari. Okay? Thank you guys all so much for all your kind words and support and love down through the years. Thank you, God, thank you so much. And before I forget, I should give you guys a little update on my kitty. She is gaining weight still. And she's still on chemo. She's, as far as I know, going to be on chemo for the rest of her life, and that's a whole other ball of wax. But however long that life is, I get to spend it with her, and I am the luckiest. I am the luckiest cat papa there has ever been, and I am so grateful to all of you for that. Not just the people who, support me on the GoFundMe and the Patreon, but all of you who watch the videos. You all help. Thank you. Thank you. you know, even if you've got ad blockers on or something, man, the views help. They do. So thank you. And thank you for the comments and the kind words and everything. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate that all so very, very much. You guys are the most wonderful, and I am the luckiest YouTuber on the platform. So thank you all so very much for that. Okay, that's my update for now. I hope I have all the videos ready for this week. They're not all rendered and uploaded and things, but it was a rough day yesterday, but I'll try and get it all done. I promise. So thank you all so very much for watching. I would like to invite happiness to you all and ask you all to please take care.